Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Today is October 27, 2025, and we are back after taking a few days off from streaming. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be trading the NinZaRenko chart. So if you're tuning in for the first time and you're looking at this type of candlestick chart and you're like, what is going on? Bear with me. I will be explaining some things. It is another visual representation. We're going to be using a very similar strategy. We're going to be paying attention to where price is going to behave at key levels. And if the runway is clear, we're going to be taking trades. We're about 8 minutes before market opens. We did make brand new all-time highs overnight. I have it marked up here at 25,852. So this type of chart that you guys are looking at is called a Renko chart. And a Renko chart is a type of chart that focuses purely on price movement and not necessarily time. So each one of these blocks, they're called bricks. And so each brick is a fixed price move. So if we keep moving higher, I think for every two points here, you could see we create a new brick, a new brick, a new brick, a new brick. And so you're able to actually see price movement a lot clearer in this format. And you're also able to identify where price might be reversing because it's literally changing directions, right? And so if the market is flat or choppy, you're going to kind of see it do what, like one of these candles here, it's just kind of going back and forth, back and forth. But if the market is trending, you're going to clearly see bricks that are layered next to each other. And you can see here we're reversing to the downside, right? At a key level. This dotted red line is known as the T line. This is something that you see when you're trading the NinZaRenko. The T line is the 233 exponential moving average. This dotted blue line is your standard deviation level off of VWAP. VWAP's all the way down here at 783. And so the idea is, when do we take a trade? We want to wait for 4 bricks in a particular direction, and that will constitute a trigger. So notice here we only got 2 bricks, didn't completely move down, right? Here we got 4 bricks and it moved up. The other thing I also want to be keeping an eye on is, just because we get 4 bricks and it's reversing doesn't mean we're going to take every single reversal. We have to make sure that the runway is clear for us. If you remember that analogy we used last week, Imagine you're a pilot, you're on a runway, and even if you notice the slightest, smallest object on that runway, you're not going to be taking off. You're going to pause and wait for those obstacles to clear. And so in this case, one of those obstacles would be this downward trend line. And I have an ATM strategy, and for those of you who don't know what an ATM strategy is, it's basically NinjaTrader's automated, when I get into a trade, I already have my automatic take profit at 8 points and my automatic stop loss at 8 points. So I'll show you an example right now. I'll just put it on sim real quick. So if I was to sell right here, you'll see that my take profit is down here and my stop loss is up there. This is 7 points and this is 8 points. This is a much more automated strategy than, say, using a normal candlestick. And you can see that this downward trend line is acting as resistance. I can also just go ahead and move my stop loss to a little bit close to break even. And I also have it trailing so that it gets closer and closer to the 8 points. We're gaining more and more profit. So let's put it back on my actual account. So what are the key levels? If you guys remember, we're going to be looking at standard deviation levels. We're going to be looking at this T line here. We're going to be looking at the 50 and 100 levels. So if I zoom out, you can see we're in this wedge. And if I look at a move and if I don't think it can hit 10 points, even though I'm only taking 8, if I don't think it can hit 10 points without hitting an obstacle, I'm not going to take that trade in whichever direction it's going to go. So in this case, what would I be looking for? I would be looking for this price to go back up, give us a pullback, a small pullback, and then trigger back to the downside. And I have to measure the move and make sure there's nothing in the way in order for us to go down. Yeah, thanks, Doug. I will be probably creating a video on how to set up your NinjaTrader to look like this, if you want to take a look at price behaving this way. I've traded NinZaRenko in the past. This is a specific type of Renko chart called Ninza with a Z, NinZaRenko. And I had decent success in the past, but I've since tightened my parameters and my rule set to give me a higher win rate. And so the idea is we're going to look for potential reversals. Around key levels and see if we have enough room to take those trades without running into any obstacles. That's really the premise of today's video. So the market opened. You could see the first few minutes, this chart's going to move really fast, so I'm not really expecting us to catch any of the initial moves. I'm going to start drawing my trend lines. We just retested the overnight all-time high that we created, and now we failed. This would have been a reversal area right here, but I didn't like that we had that trend line in the way right there. I'm going to be very picky about my entries. And here we have this low. I'm looking for this last wick here, which was another low, and I'm going to draw this trend line right there. this was a move, but I missed it right here. Okay, we're in now. And I'm looking for 8 points to the upside. I have it automatically move to break even after it hits 5 points because I don't want to give up that run right there. You see how it pulled back on me? I could have potentially re-entered it right here, but it looks like it wants to come down, so I'm not going to do it. That first trade unfortunately was break even, but it's better than taking that loser. Yeah, it got me out for break even, slightly above break even. So, and I'll show you how to set up your account to do that on Ninja as well if you're interested. All right, so right now, like, this would have been the bounce off of standard deviation and go higher, but I have that T line in the way, so I couldn't take it. I'm gonna go ahead and start deleting all the lines that we've already broken through. Yeah, it helps to keep losses very small and winners very big. And there is a strategy you can also do where you can have some really nice runners on this. I'm just trading one contract right now though, so. Right now we're kind of stuck between the standard deviation level here and this 50 level and this T line. This is called the T line. So we're just gonna wait for a reversal that makes sense, where there's nothing in the way for us to be able to get at least 8 points. Like, this would be considered a reversal, but we have, actually no, we need 4 bars. We need 4 consecutive bars. If we got it, that would have been a reversal, but we have the T line in the way and we have standard deviation in the way. So I can't take this back down. Even though it went ahead and probably made 8 points, I think. You wanna take your trigger after your 4th break. So yeah, it definitely made its 8 points, but what I would like for it to do now is for it to go back up, retest standard deviation, and we can come back down. We're retesting this upward trend line that we have here. It's going to continue probably going down. The next level is 800. That's the next level of interest. So that's probably where price is going to go. And you can clearly see that on this type of a chart, right? If we do get a reversal off of 800 to go back up, a bounce, we are going to take it. But I need 4 bars. 4 consecutive bullish bars. And we didn't get it. All right, we got it here, but you could see it happened so fast. All right, that was a stop loss. Should not have been a stop loss though. If I had moved it 1 tick lower, that's a little frustrating. I normally do 2 ticks below where the reversal happens. We would have gotten our actual target here. I'm not going to take this reversal again because we have this downward trend line right there. And this would be a potential reversal area up there to go back down, but it needs. I wanted it to touch the T line before we come back down here. And now I would be taking it to the upside if we can get another candle here to go back up. All right, so we're in. All right, that was another stop loss, unfortunately. I am tweaking my strategy a little bit, but the idea here is to also keep updating your trend lines. So I should have drawn this one here and it would have prevented us from taking this trade higher. Then you would have drawn this trend line here. It would have prevented you from taking this trade as well, but it looks like it wants to actually go ahead and do its move. I'm getting a little unlucky today because I'm literally getting stopped out by a few ticks and it actually goes up and hits its target. And that happens. So I'll go ahead and draw all the corresponding trend lines that we have here. This one is no longer valid, so you have to adjust it. So this is why we couldn't take this one higher. We have this trend line in the way. That's a really good question about adjusting my stops. Normally, if you get the correct reversal area, it's supposed to just go. My stop loss right now is 7 points, which is roughly around the distance between the fourth break and this wick here. And I typically do 2 ticks below where that wick is. So I don't really need to adjust it. That's actually the beautiful thing about this system, is that you almost always know what you're risking on every single trade, because every single trade is going to be roughly around 7 points risk. And so it helps you to actually normalize what your stop loss is going to be. And this one was a little marginal, and we also have standard deviation in the way, so you can't take this reversal higher. But I wanted to show you guys what I've been experimenting with the last few days, because I really feel like this is a really cool way to trade, and it's fun, and your eyes can visually see where the reversals are happening a lot easier than a traditional candlestick chart. So we're going to go back up and probably retest didn't even make it to this high here, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that line, delete this line, Yeah, in this case, that's correct, Doug. You'd have to get above all these lines to take a bullish trade. We might be making our way back down to 800 again. So we have this very steep line that just got broken right there. We can delete this line. Yeah, and I'll go over examples of what a valid entry is. Unfortunately, some of the entries I took today happened so quickly that one of them was not a valid entry and one of them was. We could certainly talk offline too if you're interested in learning more about what a valid entry looks like. But what I'm looking for is for price to come down to an area of interest, which is typically one of the EMAs. This is the 233 EMA, or a 100 or 50 level, or a standard deviation level, and see if it can reverse. So like right here, it's going to that EMA and it's reversing, right? But there is this trend line in the way. So this is why we don't take it bearish. The question now becomes, can we take this bullish? And the answer is no, because we have that trend line right there. So it's very similar to when we were trading the tick chart. We're looking for areas where price could potentially bounce or break through without any sort of obstacles in the way. So this would have been a trigger, but there was this trend line in the way because it reversed off of the T line back down, but we couldn't take it because I know I'm not going to be able to get my 8 points here with this trend line in the way, and that's exactly what happened. That trend line acted as support. So I'm constantly drawing my trend lines and updating them. Previous swing highs and swing lows could be potential areas of support and resistance. If you draw your trend lines correctly, you should be able to make them move. If the pathway really is clear, you should be able to make the move before you hit any of those swings. So right here we do have a bearish reversal off of standard deviation. Problem is we have the T line in the way. Like it might come back down, hit this T line and bounce back up, right? So I don't think I'll be able to get my 8 points. It would look something like this. This is 7 points right here. And then 8 point, I mean, it just got there, right? But what I like to do, because sometimes these candles move very, very, very fast, is I just measure 10 points. Can it do 10 points? Great. Then I know I can probably do 8 if it can do 10. That way, it's easier to measure 10 points in my head than to do the math for the 8. And there's that reversal I was just telling you about. In fact, we could have taken this trade here and I completely missed it because I was talking, because there was nothing in its way. Because if you draw these downward trend lines, this is way above it. and we could have taken this for 8 points to the upside. So you really do have to be paying attention, because these moves happen very quick. So it stinks that we missed this trade here. You're getting another reversal right there, but again, I don't think there's enough room for it to come back down before hitting the T line. And you can kind of see where your next potential entry would be before it happens. So the next entry I would be looking for, so you would have gotten it in right after it broke the red line. So here, this is actually a legitimate trade here. It reversed, it gave me 4 bricks. Once I get 4 bricks, I get in, my stop loss is down here, and I'm looking for 8 points. This would have been my legitimate entry, and there was more than enough room to get it. Whereas here, you got the bearish trigger, but there's not enough room to get your 8 points, and that's why it stopped out, right? Both of these are triggers. This is a trigger to the downside, this is a trigger to the upside, except this one is legitimate because you have room to do it, and this is a false positive trigger to the downside because you don't have enough room, because you were going to hit the T line. So it's all about, if you're gonna get a trigger, does it have enough room? If the answer is yes, like this one's not gonna have enough room before hitting that standard deviation level to the upside. You can see here, not enough room. So it most likely might fail. But we are respecting this bigger upward trend line. So you could say we are in this nice bullish trend. I'm just trying to be really strict with my entries. But your entry would be after you get 4 bricks in that direction, and your stop loss would be below here. But again, this is a false positive trigger to the upside because we don't have room to get there. And this trade would have stopped out if we would have taken it. So now we're going to draw a new trend line like this. And now we want to see where is price trying to go. And it might make its way all the way down to 800 and VWAP next. Zooming out to see. Problem is, by the time we do get to Well, now we can delete this line. This line's been broken. I was gonna say I don't want a trend line in the way. We have this trend line like this now from this high, which unfortunately negates me from being able to take it higher here. And there's also not enough room to the standard deviation level above us. But then the question becomes, can I take it to the downside? If we can form the 4 bricks below, the first of the 4 bricks below this trend line here, we can take it bearish. But that's not what happened. It decided to go bullish instead. So the next potential area where it could reverse is that standard deviation level up there. Decided to do it a little bit before, but I think it continues to go up, it retests standard deviation and comes down. This line is no longer valid because we broke through it. So we'll draw this line instead. That's the nearest trend line that I can draw. Based on this swing and this most recent lower swing right there. That's my 9:55 alarm saying, pay attention, we might have news at 10 o'clock. And I don't think we have news today. Let me check. Yeah, no news. Moving the all-time high all the way up here now. We did go higher. Zooming out and just drawing the bigger trend lines that I might have missed, because it's now creating some form of a structure. But you could see from market open, we were just trending up and down in this range. There's that reversal at the 50 level, but we couldn't have taken it. We had standard deviation and this trend line in the way. Now we draw this new downward trend line. Could delete this one. Could delete this line. We have this new upward trend line now. And again, a lot of these reversals that are happening at the key areas, unfortunately, the runway is not clear for me to take them. Like, if we didn't have this trend line, if we didn't have standard deviation in a way here, we could have taken this to go back up and retest 850. And so I'm just playing it like a game of probability, really. And I'm trying to take a trade that is very clean, that doesn't have any obstacles in the way. Now our downward trend line looks like this. Looks like we want to go and retest the all-time high again. Potentially. But we're gonna have this trend line in the way. All right, not anymore. I'm zooming out to see what the prior swings look like. There's that reversal right here, but we have all sorts of support levels underneath us. And because we have that swing there, we can draw this downward trend line here, so we can't go up either if we get it to reverse back up, because now we have that trend line in the way. We can delete this line, it's no longer valid. We can delete this line, it's no longer valid. We have this upward trend line now. Will the buyers go and retest the all-time high? We'll find out. This was a nice bounce off the standard deviation level, but typically the 50 and 100 levels do act as resistance. In this case, it didn't. But if we didn't have a 50 level here, we would have been able to take this higher. I'm just trying to be really, really strict with my entries. So we did make a brand new all-time high. So let me move that up, because now this is our new all-time high. Price today has been a little sluggish though. You could see it's not like really moving at a decent rate. It's just kind of like, even though we're making brand new highs, okay, we just broke the all-time high again. So now we're able to draw this upward trend line here from this little pullback right there. To go ahead and put a 900 level up there above us. Another upward trend line here. I would love for it to come back down to either this T line or the 50 and bounce back up. Okay, it's making its way down. What I'm seeing right now is where the all-time high was here at 67. Buyers are trying to defend it and have it act as support to go back up. Sellers are trying to get back through it so we can go back down through the range. Question now becomes, if we come down to this T line and we get a reversal to go back up, do we have enough room to get our 8 points? Yeah, this price action is kind of just really choppy. You could see we're just stuck. Okay. We do have room, so I went ahead and took it right there. My stop loss is going to be 2 ticks below this area here. Did we have a 56? I guess we didn't have enough room. 66 would have needed to be at 76. This was another false positive trade that I just unfortunately jumped the gun on. Sometimes you see that reversal at that key area, you get a little eager and you take an entry you shouldn't have taken. Yep, new downtrend, just trying to delete this, delete that. We have this uptrend now. I have this downtrend now. Sounds good, bro. Welcome to the chat. You guys can see we're stuck in a very, very, very tight range. Delete this line, we can delete this line. The reason why you couldn't take this one was because of the T line. In case you're wondering why we didn't take this bullish signal up. Now we're back. Renko is a lot more fun when price is actually flowing correctly. Price is not really flowing right now. It's just and it is flowing. Let me rephrase that. It's going back and forth, stuck in a range. Although Renko could be really good if you can get reversal signals with no obstacles in the way, and you can ride the trading range up and then down and then down and then up. All right, we're breaking through a lot of levels now. Can't take it bearish either because of this level that I just drew. Because the naked eye would see the pullback back to 50 and we can go back down, sure. But I'm looking at prior levels here. It did end up making the move, but now we have this level here. But not that it matters. Honestly, we can't take a trade until potential trade until we go back up to 50 or go all the way down the VWAP. So in the meantime, we just wait. Now, if it does come back up, retests 50, we can take it going back down. We have enough room before we hit this upward trend line. Not anymore though. I need it to go back up. I need it to go all the way up and then fail at 50. Unfortunately, because we have that minor pullback right there. Well, let's just see what happens. Okay, we're breaking through this trend line. I would love for us to just dump straight into VWAP and then we get the bounce up. Looks like that's what we're doing. All right. $437. Can I take this reversal here? Come on, get me in. There we go. Can actually take this reversal. Come on down and hit your 8 points. Come on. All right, we got it. This was a winner that followed all of our rules. Notice we didn't take this reversal here because it didn't retest the actual T line, and we wouldn't have had room before we hit this trend line here. But now I'm more interested in us going all the way back down the VWAP. That's the level I'm interested at as my next potential trade. Okay, we broke through both these trend lines here. We don't have room to take this reversal back down. We run into these two trend lines. If we go back up to 50 and fail, we still have this trend line that's in the way. Depends on where it fails. We can take this to the upside if it decides to give us a bullish trigger here. Okay, this is going to be a bullish signal. Maybe I misread this situation. I would like for it to come back and retest 50 essentially. That's the premise of this trade here. I've locked in break even. Okay. I got out at break even. But looking back on this, I probably shouldn't have been in that trade in the first place because of this trend line from right here. We have to be aware of all the different all the different levels, all the different swings, which I'm still trying to get better at. Yeah, the trailing stop is awesome, Doug. It's really cool. It's one of my favorite tools in Ninja. This was the move we were looking for here. It just didn't happen. Yeah, now we're getting a lot of buyers for some reason. We do have this bigger downward trend line in the way. Let's see if we can clear it. We did. Yeah, funny how that works. You get stopped out and then it hits target, right? At this point, we're can't even talk right now. We are really looking for, do we take this bounce higher? Let's see if we can get back in. Actually, no, this isn't a legitimate trade. What am I doing? Let me exit out of this trade. That was not a legitimate trade. I don't know what I was doing there. The reason why I thought this was a legitimate trade was because I thought it touched standard deviation and it didn't. Now I would like for it to come back down to standard deviation and give us an entry higher. Doesn't look like it wants to do that. Could delete this line now. We made a new high. We are coming down into the standard deviation level, which means we can take a potential trade here. To go back up. Okay, we are at least break even. Now our trailing thing moves up. We're hoping to get our 8 points. But this is a profitable trade regardless. There we go. Patience pays, guys. I want to create t-shirts for everybody for our next conference. Patience pays. Made a brand new all-time high. Thanks, bro. I love the alliteration. Patience pays. There's like power behind it, right? Just say the word patience and pays. At this point, if we continue going higher, 900 is the next level. Yeah, 900 is going to be the next level. Yeah, price action right now is kind of stalling again. The next potential trade we can take is if it pulls back down, retests the T line to go back up. Assuming we have the runway for it. Okay, we're moving higher. Okay, we are approaching 900. Okay, if we do get a reversal here on the T line, we can take it, the upside. Not anymore though, because now we have this trend line. Unless this breaks above it, yep. If we can get a break above this trend line here at the T line, we can go bullish. All right, that worked. Patience pays, right guys? Patience pays. We can't do that same bounce here, unfortunately, because we have this downward trend line now. We also couldn't have taken the bearish move either. We had this trend line right there too. So both moves are false positives. False positive bearish, false positive bullish. We have a little bit of tiny pullback here. This little wick. That's going to act as this support level for this trend line that I just drew up here. So we can't take this one bearish either. And there's no room, even if we didn't have the trend line, because we have the standard deviation level down here. But we are looking like we are transitioning into a downtrend though. Can't take the bounce off standard deviation either. We have resistance overhead with the trend lines and the T line. We did get the reversal here, but very tight. My copier is doing fine. It's also because I'm breaking the accounts up into 4 groups. It doesn't have a lot of strain on it, right? Whereas before, when I was copying in just 2 groups, there was a lot more demand on it. Okay, now we're looking potentially at the 850 level for a bounce back higher. We're not going to be able to take the bearish reversal off standard deviation if it goes up and comes back down, because I just drew this trend line here from this low to this low. Okay, we're breaking through this trend line. adjusting that trend line because it didn't break it, it just touched it with the wick. And then we can't take the reversal here because standard deviation is in the way. And then we couldn't take this reversal to the upside because of this trend line, which we did break, but we also have this trend line here. So we're in a tighter range. And then same thing with this reversal going back down. We have standard deviation right here, and we had that trend line in the way. So there's a lot of indecision going on and consolidation at the moment. Okay, we're making our way down. Can we break this trend line here? Retest 50 and get the bounce up? That's sort of what is the next potential trade that I'm eyeing. Again, assuming that the runway is clear, right? So far, the runway is clear if we get the reversal. Not anymore, though. Because that's the new downward trend line. Because we got a little bit of a pullback here. question is, can we have taken this to the downside? And the answer is yes. We can take this to the downside. The runway should be clear to come back down, but there's a lot of buyers right now, so this might be a stop loss. Can't take it bullish here if it reverses up. We have these two trend lines on the way. If it comes back down to the T line, we can take that reversal back higher. Not anymore though. Okay, now if it does come back down to the T-line, we do have room for it. Not anymore. I just needed to go straight down to the T-line. Otherwise, I'm forced to draw these trend lines that get in the way. Yeah, so now we have this trend line, which stinks. Okay, our new downward trend line's like that, so we can't take the bounce here. If we didn't have that trend line, we would have been able to take this bounce higher. If it does give us that signal, right? That's the reversal I wanted to take, but we had that trend line on the way. Okay, we made brand new all-time highs. We can delete this line and this line. I would prefer to have it just go straight down without a pullback down to the T line, get the reversal, and we can go back up. Because you see what happens when we get a slight pullback. I have to draw a trend line that negates that move. Well, that's what I was talking about here. At this point, I kind of want it to go up to 900 and then reverse back down. Let's see if we get that. All right, we won't be able to take that reversal on 900 anymore, because we're probably going to be drawing a trend line that goes like that. Okay, so if we come down to the T line, we probably don't have enough room to go back up because of this downward trend line here. Yeah, and this price action is kind of horrendous a little bit. Just not very fluid. Okay, this line's gonna get deleted. I wanted to take this reversal, but we have that trend line in the way. Trend line is acting as resistance. And that trade wouldn't have worked anyway, so good on us for following our rules. This is our next upward trend line here. This is another downward trend line here if it keeps going down. not, we'll delete it. Did break this trend line. At this point, I would love for it to just cleanly go all the way up to 900 and fail underneath this trend line, and we can take the trade lower. We'll see if we get that look. Okay, this trend line is negated. We have this downward trend line now, lower high right here. New upward trend line. At this point, since we're very bullish, what I would like for us to do is break above 900, pull back, hold 900, get a trigger to go higher, and continue pushing to the upside. Let's just see what look we end up getting. Okay, we got the move above 900. Looking for that pullback right there. And then looking for a continuation up. What does it want to do? This may have been premature, but typically this is considered a pullback. Continuation up, but we may end up getting stopped out here. Yeah, the price action today is really sluggish. This is probably going to be my last trade, guys, one way or the other. Yeah, stop loss. Okay. All right, well, I hope you guys learned how to trade the Renko today. I know I'm going to do a few of these Renko videos, and hopefully you guys will get the hang of it. And we'll kind of go from there. Oh, actually, we're getting another potential trigger here. Let's try this one. Yeah, this isn't looking very good, but see what happens. This was a legitimate trigger here. But we are in all-time high territory, so there's that. There is that. Might actually add here. This looks like it does want to move up. Or it reverses and takes me out. Wow, it is stuck. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me for today. That was an annoying trade, but I'll be back on tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll talk then. Have a good start to your week.